everyone, and I'm so thrilled today to be joined by Richard Webster. And Richard works in the International Education Department, and he is the internationalization lead. Welcome, Richard.
Hi, Shelley. It's good to be here.
Great. It's so great to talk to you today. And I just thought that to start out, you could tell us a little bit about your background and maybe in particular some of the experiences in your background that have prepared you for the role that you have at St. Lawrence College right now.
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, I think really kind of something that brings a lot of value to this role for me is my previous education. So part of my education is a joint European Masters in International Migration and Social Cohesion. So a lot of that program was really focused on migration systems, so immigration, race relations, and so forth. So kind of bridging that academic side to my practical work experience. So I bring a lot of work experience, particularly in government. So I worked in policy and program development, mostly for the Ontario Public Service. So that kind of brings in that kind of strategic thinking that was really necessary for this particular role. But when I think about other experiences that I've had that really connect to international education, you know, I was an international student myself a number of times in 4 different countries, 5 different countries actually. Which I absolutely loved. And I think that having that lived experience, and I know this is a common thread for a lot of us that are drawn to working in international education, is that we've experienced it firsthand ourselves. And so I think having that lived experience kind of first and foremost really brings that focus and understanding of what our international students are experiencing on a daily basis, you know, the highs and the lows and the challenges and the benefits that they get from that education. So that's a big thing. Another thing, another previous experience was I was a vice president of the, it was called the Erasmus Mundus Association it was the North American chapter. And basically that was really to promote higher education in Europe. So that was something that I did on a voluntary basis, but it was another thing that kind of connected those previous experiences, my academic background, and bridging that kind of policy and program side.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a really interesting point that you made about, you know, having previously been an international student and bringing that perspective in. And I think that for you too, because I know that you and I have talked in the past, you also bring into that the fact that, you know, this area of the province is sort of like your home territory, right? So it's sort of like you started here, you went out and got all of these international experiences, including that, as you say, lived experience of being an international student. And you must have felt like when you came back after those kinds of experiences that you have a different perspective or you have a different lens, right? That you're bringing even to the geographic area of the world that you're from originally.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that I'm so grateful for those experiences. And it's something that I never, to be honest, really kind of expected that I would find myself back in my home region. But I'm really proud to be from Eastern Ontario. You know, I've seen kind of the changes that have been taking place, and it's really exciting. I was excited at least to come into this role because I think this is such an important part of the development of the community, like not only the social development, but economic development and sustainability. So I think that is also really exciting to kind of get to witness that transition that continues to take place here too.
Okay. So what would you say is the most satisfying part of the role that you have at the college?
I like that question. There's a lot of things. I think the biggest thing that it would come down to is I'm also a part-time faculty at the college too. So I've got to firsthand be in the classroom and witnessing students engaging with, whether it's international students engaging with and learning from our Canadian students or vice versa, and really seeing those connections happen and that learning for, you know, their own self-awareness, but then being able to understand how that connects. You know, what is similar, what's different between one another, and what are those bridges that, you know, that they form and learn to form over time. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing that I find that I always bring back what the benefit is of my work. But I also think there's, you know, another side too, is that being an employee myself of the college, I think that employee engagement has been really exciting to witness, because I know how much our faculty and our staff care about our students, all of our students' success. And so it's been really rewarding at least I hope that they, in some degree, would see that I've had a little bit of an impact on helping them within their journey throughout the past few years, to see those kind of light bulbs go off and see, okay, that's why a certain group of students from a certain country do this. And this is how I might be able to change how I either serve them or my teaching practice and those kinds of things. And I find that extremely rewarding for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the time that you've been at the college, that has just been kind of remarkable, right? Like you can see it sometimes from one day to the next with the numbers of encounters that we all have with, you know, trying to develop this kind of global mindset. Yeah, absolutely. I get that. It is very satisfying. So the last question I was going to ask you is more along the lines of, I guess, your advice. And I'm wondering, could you tell us like what it is that motivates you and what inspires you in your work as an international educator?
I think first of all, it would be just kind of my own learning, you know, really understanding, gaining better self-awareness always. I think we're all always doing that, or hopefully always doing that, and building on our own self-awareness, but then understanding, you know, the interconnected nature, I think, between all of us. So no matter where we're from, again, kind of coming back to those, what are those similarities? What are those differences? And how does it impact, you know, ourselves and our local communities, but also our region, our country, and how does it connect to the global environment as well? So I think there's all those kinds of levels that are really big motivators for me. And I think that it can be challenging at times for all of us, you know, as sometimes it can be difficult, you know, learning from other people, adjusting how we do things. But I think it's really important just to kind of enjoy the process. It can be really fun, and it is really fun to be learning from other people, learning about other places, and so forth. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, Richard. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was great to ask you some questions and great to get to know you a little bit. So thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.